Hello, welcome to the Prime Podcast. This is our 7th episode, and I'm going to talk about the week in consumer electronics and technology news. And this week, a good variety of things happened, starting with some talk from other companies like Lenovo, Asus, and Dell on the Surface RT Windows tablet, or the Microsoft Surface, as well as a new feature called Sony Crossfire, which is going to launch on the PS3 and Vita. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1, which was recently launched. Microsoft rebranding their Metro user interface to their modern UI interface. And we wrap it up by talking about Valve, and they're going to launch their own Steam apps where they're going to sell more than just games in the near future. So let's go ahead and get started by talking about Microsoft and the Surface RT. So Microsoft is going to be launching Windows 8 this October, and Windows 8 will come in two general versions. The first one is simply Windows 8. It's designed to work on Intel and AMD computers, and it can run legacy Windows applications like the one I'm using now, Wirecast, to record this, and other applications like Photoshop, Adobe Premiere. All those applications will work on Windows 8, the complete version. Windows RT, on the other hand, is a little bit different. It is designed for ARM processors, the same chips that are found in your smartphone or your tablet. And instead of running old Windows apps, it's only going to run new Metro styles, or now it's modern UI styled applications. Meaning that all the applications you currently have on your computer won't work unless they're updated. Of course, companies like Google will update Google Chrome, and there'll most likely be a version of Photoshop that's slightly modified for Windows 8 like there is for Android or iOS. But overall, a lot of the applications that you're used to won't be available for Windows RT. Although Windows RT is going to be more for tablet operating systems, so that's not going to be a big deal. Anyways, we should see Windows 8 arrive on usual desktops and laptops from companies like Dell, HP, and Sony. And Windows RT systems will be a little bit different. Most of these companies don't already produce ARM devices, so companies like Lenovo, Asus, Dell, and Sony might... those companies are actually a few of the companies that are actually planning to launch Windows RT tablets and notebooks later this year. So Windows RT tablets and notebooks, and that's one very interesting thing, and that's because we're going to see more than just Windows RT tablets. Previously, it was expected that Windows RT would be just on tablets, or like tablets that are kind of like Transformer tablets, like the Asus ePad Transformer, those kind of devices. We previously thought that that's kind of what would be the focus of Windows RT. But Microsoft this week announced that they're going to do more than just that. They're actually going to sell it on laptops. Probably they're going to do it for low-cost laptops. They could sell a laptop for maybe $200, $300, and that way they could go ahead and just basically, people could buy cheaper computers, and those cheaper computers would run ARM. They'd be more power efficient. They could last a lot longer on a battery, like 8 to 12 hours on a battery, which is good. Intel processors don't last that long. That's like 4 hours max around there. That's kind of some advantages of having a Windows RT powered notebook. But on the other hand, Windows RT notebooks, if they don't have a touchscreen, it's going to be a little bit difficult to use, for some people at least. So that requires some getting used to. So now I'm going to cover the Windows RT tablet and the battery life that will be offered. So if you compare battery life of a Windows 7 computer or notebook rather, to an Android tablet, you'll obviously see that Windows 7 lasts maybe 5 hours max. Well, an Android tablet can last a couple of days, like the Nexus 7 I have right here. Beside me, it lasts a full day, and I'm still like 60% done, so I can go multiple days on the Nexus 7, just because it has a great processor inside that's very energy efficient. And Intel processors, that's the reason why these Windows computers right now don't have great battery life, because Intel processors use significantly more power than ARM processors. Because Windows RT computers will have an ARM processor instead of an Intel processor, that you'll have significantly improved battery life, and that in the end you can get around 8 to 13 hours on a single charge, which I already said. So now, when will these Windows RT tablets arrive? Right now, we only know when one of those Windows RT tablets is going to arrive. That's Microsoft's own Surface tablet. It'll arrive October 26th of this year, which is the same day when Windows 8 launches, which makes sense. Microsoft wants to get out there as soon as they can. All the other tablets from Lenovo, Asus, and others could arrive on October 26th, but they might arrive sometime after that. Like Nokia, that they're most likely going to launch a Windows 8 tablet, or Windows RT rather, and it's probably not going to arrive this year. It's going to launch next year because Nokia really wants to perfect their device before they launch it. Microsoft has already released the Windows 8 and Windows RTM, meaning that they finished the operating system and they send it out to companies that are going to be building Windows 8 computers so they can finish their tablet computers. And adding to that, when I published this article, so I published it at the end of last week, but since then, Microsoft actually released Windows 8. I don't think they launched the RT, but I think they launched Windows 8, the final version, to TechNet subscribers, or I think that's what it's called, or MSD, or something like that. It's one of those, it's that thing where you pay like $500 a year and you get access to all Microsoft products for basically for free, which is a pretty good deal if you use all of them. Those people who have that, you probably know what I'm talking about. They have a download link for the Windows 8 operating system. If you're another person, you don't have that, you can actually download a 90-day trial of Windows 8, which will give you from now until a while after it arrives, and there's more than or less than 90 days between now and October 26th. But basically, you can try it out, the full Windows version. But I'm just running the Windows 8 release preview because it's pretty much finished, and just a few UI tweaks haven't been done yet, and it works fine. Moving on to our first sponsor, and that's Media Temple. We've talked with them in the past, and they've really been a sponsor with us for a while now, since we've been starting this podcast. And previously they've sold domain names for $4 a piece. They still are doing that. You can find a link in the previous episode of one of our podcasts for that good deal. But they now have another deal, and that is if you get a new hosting plan by the link in the description below. That hosting plan, you get it at the normal price, which is a low $20 if you get the grid service plan. And you'll also get a $25 credit if you basically order now with this link. And that basically means if you're looking at the grid service, you can have actually an extra month free of hosting, which is a pretty good deal. Grid service is really fast. I've posted many websites on it. It's also very stable, and it's a pretty good service. If you want a little bit more, there's dedicated virtual servers, which are basically virtual machines, and VE servers. If you want something crazy, there's some DVP Nitro, which are basically dedicated servers. So if you want a Media Temple, if you're looking at Media Temple for a new web hosting company and you want a good deal, you can check out Media Temple with the link I have in the description below, and you can get a $25 credit in your account if you use that link. So that's a pretty good deal right there. Thanks to Media Temple. Now on to some gaming news. We don't talk about gaming news every single week, but we are today because Sony introduced a new feature called cross-buy, and essentially it's where you can buy a PS3 game and use it on your PlayStation Vita for free. So I'm going to kind of go back and do a little bit of background on this. Steam is the leader when it comes to game distribution. Steam allows you to easily purchase a game, usually at a discount, and have it downloaded and installed on your computer extremely quickly. Steam also has lots of features that let you play games on both Mac and PC as well as Linux using single license, only paying once. You pay like $60 for the game, works on all three platforms. And that's really great. You previously had to pay for the game on every single operating system you wanted to play it on. That's not going to be the case if you use Steam, which is really, really great. And that's one of the great parts of the Steam business model that's right now they're using. So Sony, they actually are planning to do something very similar to what Steam is doing with that, with their PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita, and they're calling it cross-buy, like I already said. Cross-buy is a pretty simple idea. If you buy a video game like Sly Cooper for the PlayStation 3, you'll want to be able to download it on your, you'll be able to download it on PS Vita for free. Previously, you had to buy the game twice, once for the PS3 and once for the Vita, which it just wasn't very appealing, because if you're one of the few people who have a Vita, you most likely don't want to buy a game twice, and if you have to, you'll probably just buy separate games, because there's no real point to have the game unless you really want to play it on the Vita as well as the PlayStation 3. With cross-buy, you'll be able to buy the game on the PS3 and just download it on the Vita for free, which is very nice. It only supports 2 games right now, which is Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time, and Ratchet & Clank Full Frontal Assault. But of course, Sony will in the future be basically expanding this to as many games as they possibly can. So Sony makes money from every single PlayStation game that's sold. So the more games that they sell will result in more money for Sony. So it makes sense for Sony to make you buy the game twice, for once for each system, in order to make the most money possible. So Sony's actually losing money off this cross-buy deal, which makes me wonder why exactly they're doing it. After a bit of thinking, I realized that they're doing this in order to promote the PlayStation Vita, which will be, in many ways, it is really a dying product. People who carry on smartphones and tablets, those devices can run similar games, and they carry on those devices with them wherever they go. So there's no real point in getting a secondary portable gaming device like the Vita. But if you get free games on it, if you already have a PlayStation 3 and you have a bunch of games and you want to get a Vita, you'll have a ton of games on your Vita as soon as you get it because you've been already buying games on the PS3. So that's kind of a good deal right there. And I think really Sony's targeting this on targeting cross-buy on existing PlayStation 3 customers. So what's the future of cross-buy? Sony obviously plans to expand cross-buy to support as many games as possible. Moving beyond Sony, I think I won't be surprised if companies like Microsoft pick up on this idea. So Microsoft could have, for example, if you buy an app on Windows Phone, it could work on Xbox and Windows 8 as well. That would be awesome if they could do something like that. It could be a little bit tricky to set it all up. Certain games could work, like Fruit Ninja, for example. It's available for Xbox, Windows Phone, and Windows 8. So you can just buy it on one device. It'll work on all the devices. Other things like Call of Duty, not so much. They can't really be on a Windows Phone. But they could be on Xbox and Windows 8. So things like that could really help Microsoft out. And Sony, they're only doing this on 2 devices. But Microsoft, they could do it on their Xbox, which is their console. Windows 8, which is pretty much, will soon be the majority of computers out there. And Windows Phone 8, which is just a good amount of smartphones out there. Not a whole lot, but a good amount. So that would really be a great idea if Microsoft wanted to do this. Sony's doing it now, and it makes a lot of sense. So it's just kind of cool how they're doing that. Moving on to the Samsung Galaxy Note. So Samsung held an event this week where they unveiled what was already launched internationally a couple weeks ago, and that is the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1. The Note 10.1 is Samsung's real next generation Samsung tablet that we've been waiting for. It combines a lot of what we saw with the Galaxy Tab 10.1 as far as form factor goes with the Galaxy Note's features, as well as the Samsung Galaxy S3's hardware. For $500, some might like the added software features that the Galaxy Note 10.1 offers, but some other people might prefer their tablets, like the Nexus 7, for example. Personally, I'd probably prefer the Nexus 7 because it's half the price, it has stock Android, and does everything you need it to, but other people might like the features I'm going to talk about that come with the Galaxy Note 10.1. Before I go into the software, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the hardware. It's obviously going to be great hardware because Samsung has a long history of putting the most up-to-date and incredibly fast hardware they can into these devices. The Note 10.1 is no exception to that. It has the latest and greatest hardware. I've listed all below, including a 10.1-inch 180 by 800 LCD display, 1.4 GHz quad-core Exynos 4 quad processor, 2 gigs of RAM, 16 or 32 gigs of storage, along with a micro SD card slot, 7,000 mAh battery, S-Pen stylus. There's also other things like, the Air Blaster is kind of nice. It's on the Galaxy Tab 7.7. I didn't use it much since I'm not on the TV a whole lot, but some people, it would be like a really critical feature. I know a lot of people use tablets for the TV. They can change channels, turn on and off the surround sound, that kind of stuff, just with their tablet, which they already have with them. No need for, remote. So that's kind of a nice feature there. Back to the software. Without great software, even the most powerful hardware just wouldn't work the way you'd like it to. The good news is the Galaxy Note 10.1 has some great software. It runs Android 4.0 sandwich with TouchWiz on top. TouchWiz in many ways has turned into more. It has turned into more than just a simple scan like it was on the Galaxy S, the original one. It's now basically a set of features and applications. That's at least what I found on the Galaxy S3 when I reviewed it. And there are many features like the ability to split an app in half, so you have one app on half of the screen, another app on the other half of the screen. There's also a new note-taking application that allows you to use stylus that will recognize shapes that you draw in there. They'll recognize symbols, letters, and even math formulas. Kind of cool right there. And it isn't running the latest version of Android, which many people won't like. But all these added features aren't available on other devices, even if they're running Jelly Bean. So I don't think the version of Android is the most critical thing here exactly. But the only real problem with that is because a lot of applications, newer ones, require newer versions of Android. And of course, this isn't going to be an issue now. And of course, eventually Samsung should update to Jelly Bean. Now into the availability of the Galaxy Note 10.1. And if you're watching this, it's now available at launch on August 16th in the United States, a day after the announcement, or today at the time of this recording. It's for sale for $500 for the 16 gig model, or $550 for the 32 gigabyte model. So pretty reasonable pricing, pretty standard pricing. They're only Wi-Fi only models right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they launch HSPA Plus models and even a 4G LTE version for carriers like AT&T and Verizon. Considering that Samsung put most of the other tablets on carriers like Verizon, it just makes sense. It's just a matter of time when they're going to do that. They're starting out with Wi-Fi, makes sense, and just looking forward to the Note 10.1. Moving on to basically what Microsoft's calling their operating system and what it has to offer. So in a couple of months, Microsoft will release Windows 8, like I already said, and they've been developing it for the past 3 years. And one of the biggest parts of Windows 8 is the interface that's found on both the Xbox and the Windows Phone. It's called Metro, at least that's what it previously was called. Microsoft, after a while of rumors and reports, they've actually finally renamed Windows 8 to, not Windows 8, Windows, the Metro. That's what they call their tile user interface. They're renaming that user interface to Modern UI. At the time I wrote this article, it was rumored to be the Windows 8 UI. There's actually a good amount of sources like CNET that are reporting on it. So I kind of went with it, but it didn't turn out to be true. Microsoft announced that it's actually going to be the Modern UI, which I guess makes a little bit more sense. The Windows 8 UI will get kind of confusing if you know what I mean. Because basically people would probably buy the Surface RT thinking that the Windows 8 UI would offer everything that the Windows 7 UI did, which is basically the desktop. But in reality, Windows RT and Windows 8 are completely different operating systems. They share a certain feature, which is Modern UI, but the Windows 8 runs completely different applications if you want it to. So I don't really like the whole idea of Modern UI versus Metro UI. I like the name Metro a lot better. It seems a lot smoother, a lot shorter, a lot simpler, but I guess Microsoft had to do this change because it was a potential trademark dispute. But right now Microsoft's actually removing all applications that have the word Metro in the App Store. So like right now, if I press Windows on my computer, there's it was Metro Twit, I think that's what it was. It's basically a Twitter client. They already renamed it, but didn't rename it, it would have gotten removed. So if you have Windows app in the Windows 8 App Store, just kind of check out for that. But Microsoft renamed the Windows 8 to or Metro UI to Modern UI. I guess it makes some sense. It is modern. But I just think they could have done something more creative. I don't know, tiles. I don't really know what they should call it, but I think they could do something better. So I talked about the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita a little bit ago, and if you're on a current PlayStation 3 owner, you can actually get a pretty good deal right now on Amazon. If you follow the link in the description below, you can see that Amazon is selling this PlayStation 3 new model, 160 gigabytes, the standard version that most people have. It's a slim model too, and it's available for just $230, which is a pretty good deal. You know, the PlayStation 3 launched at like $1,000 back when it arrived. At first, dropped to like $300, or not $300. It dropped to like $400 somewhere, and then dropped to $300, $250, and now it's starting to just drop and drop and drop and drop, because I guess the PlayStation 4 is going to arrive at the end of next year. Still a ways away, but for the PlayStation 3 to run older games, you know, it's $229, which is a pretty good deal. On Amazon, it's new and it's everything. And yeah, it's a pretty good deal right there. And it's follow the link in the description below, and you can get a PlayStation 3 for just $230 at Amazon. And I wouldn't be surprised if you like stay tuned on that page. I'm not surprised if it would drop even more and more and more to until it gets to like $200, and that would be like really great price point right there. $200 for PlayStation 3 is I think a pretty good deal. Now into our final article, and that's relates to Valve and Steam. So a while back, the PC gaming market was completely different from what it is today. To play a game on the PC, you had to go to a store, purchase a game, but that came with a DVD, and you had to basically install the games in the DVD and put the DVD back in your computer every single time you wanted to play the game. It was real pain. I have a few games that use are DVD, they're older games, but they're just kind of a pain to use because I'd be fine if you just had to install it. But having to have the DVD in the system when you're playing the game, that's just real pain. At least on a PC. I guess it's something I can get used to, but it just didn't seem very nice for me. But anyways, I really like the whole idea of Steam. Steam changed everything by launching the Steam game distribution platform. And when Steam launched, it allowed users to download games onto their computer. And it's just, you buy the game, install it, and do everything right from your computer. There's no need to have a CD, no need to go to the store. It's all digital distribution, like on an app store on Android or iOS. You buy, download, and install the application, and run it without having to deal with a single CD or anything like that. It's all automated, all easy to do, and it's just very, very nice. And they've also added many things since then, like discounts, daily deals, holiday deals, and even like cloud sync. So if you have a game, it saves to the cloud, and you can load up that same game on a different computer. And the game saves will be the same on the other computer, which is incredibly useful if you have multiple computers. But moving on to this Steam non-gaming app store. So right now, if you wanted to get an application on the computer, it was just like what it was like to get a game on a computer a while back. There's no real organized, easy way to get game or apps on your computer. You have to download from the internet or go to a store and buy a CD. It's just kind of awkward to get an application on your computer. But Valve is actually going to change this by launching their own app store on September 5th, and that app store will be able to sell. Seems to be selling various different applications, and they'll be distributed just like games are on Steam. You buy an application, it's downloaded on your computer, and updates are automatically done in the background. And hopefully they'll also sync your settings and documents to multiple computers using Steam Cloud, which is a pretty good deal right there. So the big question now is, will it work? And that's because both Microsoft and Apple are working on their own app stores. Microsoft will have the Windows 8 App Store, and Apple will have the Mac App Store. Both stores allow you to purchase applications for your operating system. Both app stores will work well, and it will come installed on every single computer. So chances are most people won't be getting this app. They won't use this Valve Steam App Store because it's just kind of a pain to install it and have to use it over the Windows App Store or the Mac App Store. But for current Steam users, I think this would be a really big thing because current Steam users, they already have Steam, they already have all the games. Just why not have like an application tab on the game? There's like, right now, there's store, library, news, community. They can just add apps right there, right on that tab, and you can go ahead and download and use applications. I think it's more for current Steam users, and not really for new customers. I think that's really what they're trying to do here. But of course, it could spread to new customers as soon as people really start to like things like Cloud Sync and the community that Valve has. So I don't know what they're going to do exactly, but if they get a good deal to get like something like Microsoft Office onto this, they could potentially do something where you could basically have something similar to Google Docs, where multiple people can access and can contribute to a document at the same time. So they could do something like that. I think they could really do a whole lot using the Steam community and everything that Steam has out right now. And their Steam apps, which are going to be launching on September 5th. I'll be looking forward to using this in September because it just really seems interesting. But that's about it for this podcast. You can come back next week for the next episode, or you can come back later on Sunday or tomorrow, and you'll be able to see our gaming episode and our gaming series where we're going to do Minecraft right now. We're building a house in every single biome in Minecraft. You can watch that series on this channel. The channel is theprime.co. Subscribe. We upload at least 2 videos a week. Next week we will possibly be uploading a video, which is the review of the Galaxy or Nexus 7. Or might also do a video unboxing video of the Sprint Nexus 7 or Galaxy Nexus. I keep confusing these too many Nexus devices. But stay tuned for that. Also check out our blog, theprime.co, and that's about it.